Hello YouTubers and welcome to Novus Talks with me, your host Novus Gorbius. And in this video I will be doing a review of a game that I've been dying to do a review for a couple of weeks now, and that is Astral Chain, the newest IP from Platinum Games, the developers of Bayonetta. And yeah, I got this game a couple of weeks ago. It came out I believe in September, but I've been caught up behind in a few other videos that I wanted to upload, such as the Terminator ones. And so I'm only getting around to doing this now. But without further ado, I'll get right back into it. So, Astral Chain is by Platinum Games, so it's exactly what you'd expect from a Platinum game. Uh, Absolutely insane, mind-blowing action sequences. Uh, Intense, replayable hack and slash moments, and just overall typical platinum experience. So I'll start off with the story on this one because I do have a few gripes about the story. Astral Chain's story is centered around, I think, around the year 2078, somewhere around then, where a meteor impact to Earth caused portals, or as they call them, gates, to another dimension to open up. And then these gates let out a corruption that turned people into aberrations, which are basically mutants. And sometimes, as well as these, there's also these other monsters from the astral plane known as chimeras. And they're basically just stronger aberrations, and they're really, some of them are big, some of them are humanoid, all that kind of stuff. To combat this, the police force set up a task force called Neuron that started capturing chimeras in an attempt to create the legions. Legions were chimeras under the control of a legionis, and they can basically be used to fight back and defeat chimeras, because the entire world is uninhabitable except for this artificial island called the Ark, which is where this game is set. So that's really all you need to know about the main part of the story, the legions and stuff. Um, the the villain of this game from the get go is made out to be a woman called Jenna Anderson. She originally worked with Neuron at the Research Institute to develop legions, but then turned against them and was labeled a terrorist. Her whole goal is apparently made out to be that she wants to merge Earth back with the astral plane, because apparently we came from the astral plane and we've been extinct twice before because we didn't go back, or something like that. It's confusing. So she's made out to be the bad guy by the head of Neuron, Yosef. And so your mission, you play as, so there's twins in this game, as you may know. Depending which one you pick, the other one will be named Akira. So I played the game on my first playthrough as the girl. So obviously the brother was named Akira, so that's what I'm going as for my basis for the review. You and Akira anyway are the newest Legionises, whatever the plural is. And you're trying to stop Jenna as well as close certain gates and save people. And the plot kind of gets deeper as it goes on, but eventually it's revealed that Jenna wasn't the ultimate bad guy, it was actually Yosef. And he plans to merge everything in existence into one singular being within himself. And yeah, that's all I'll say about it for now. It's not well written at all. I'm actually gonna say the story in this game is absolutely terribly written. It feels extremely rushed. There's so many contradictions and a load of questions unanswered, especially around Jenna. Like, they hint at one point that she's the mother of the twins or something, and it doesn't make sense. The plot of the game is very badly written, which is a shame because it is interesting, but just it doesn't work out in the end. But since it is a platinum game, it's not about the story, of course. It's about the gameplay, and the gameplay is fucking fantastic. Um, as I said, there's really intense moments. You've 5 different legions which you acquire as you defeat them as bosses throughout the game. The Sword Legion, the Arrow Legion, the Arm, the Beast, and the Axe Legion. And they all have different abilities, and you'll need them to do various combos and stuff. And you also unlock different abilities that you can assign to them. So the gameplay gets quite varied and it has a lot of replayability because you're constantly trying to improve on your current score and better your rank. And the boss fights, of course, as always, are terrific. Most of the bosses in this game are either legions or homunculi, and the homunculi all look the exact same, except that the level design and how you defeat them changes. I think because you fight them 5 times, so it changes 5 times. Uh, you fight Jenna twice, and it's rewarding. It's a fun boss. The first time I fought her was very intimidating because you'd only fought a few legions at that point, so you hadn't really fought anything major, and obviously you'd fought a few chimeras, but then she's human, she's really fast, her attacks are quick, and so you're kind of very much caught off guard the first time you fight her, and it's sort of like a panic, and it actually feels like a rush for survival. And so that's what makes that boss fight really memorable and stay in your head. And the second time you fight her is even better. It's definitely one of my favorite boss fights in this game, probably my second. 3 phases to the fight. You beat her as human, then she becomes kind of like a chimera type thing, and then what I love is that like as you push through each phase of the fight, the music gradually gets more emotional and has a sort of sad ambient moment to it. So like you're becoming victorious, but it doesn't feel like an actual victory because something just feels off. Like you shouldn't be doing this. And then obviously the third final phase with her was just epic. Typical Platinum Games giant monster floating in the sky, jumping from platform to platform to defeat it. So it's really good. That boss fight really stands out in your head as one of the high moments of this game. And then standard enemies, of course, they'll challenge you just as much as the bosses because they'll just come in waves and waves, and so you're forced to quickly get better at the game unless you want to die multiple times, which you probably will. Other than that, the game makes good use of its legions, although I will say I absolutely hate the Beast Legion and the Axe Legion. The Beast Legion is just, it feels like it has a mind of its own, you can't really control it. And the Axe Legion is too slow. It's powerful, very good for taking on bosses, but it's very slow and kind of annoying to use. They're all used to solve different puzzles and obviously platforming techniques such as jumping or moving the floor in certain places. And the level design as well is really good. In the main world and the arc, you kind of travel to a lot of the same areas multiple times. But within the astral plane, each area is different. Even though it's the same reddish black aesthetic the whole time, it's still very different each time, and you're not really sure what you're going to encounter. On top of that, the characters are another thing I want to bring up. Most of them are fairly okay. I found Hal annoying the first few times we had to rescue him, but after that he proved to be a somewhat useful ally. I will say though, I'm going to be the only person that's played this game to say this, but I absolutely despise Lappy. She's so annoying. She's constantly forced down your throat, and you can't avoid her. She's just always there, and it almost gives you nightmares anytime you see that dog coming up. And honestly, she's like something out of Five Nights at Freddy's. She just doesn't belong in this game. Not to mention that scene where she like catches you in the bathroom is just really creepy. But moving on from that, Olive was one of my favorite characters in this game because she turns out as kind of sweet, and you see that she wants to save Brenda. Obviously, when Yosef starts turning on all the neuron officers, Brenda Olive has this loyalty to Brenda and wants to rescue her, and she proves a valuable ally to you and Akira as it goes on. Another one, Akira. I hate him because he's like an annoying version of Anakin Skywalker in many bits because he's good but he gets angry and he kind of turns against you and like he hates you but obviously he's still working with you. But then I think it's like chapter 5 or something, he gets when you fight Jenna, when he gets killed and then he gets saved and he's alive and you're like, okay, fair enough. This introduced the fusion power up that you were able to use through the game, which is, I wish it was more, it came across more often because it's really powerful and it's very useful, but it's kind of difficult to power up. But anyway, he nearly dies then, he survives, then he gets stabbed again in chapter 9, chapter 10 I think it was, and that was, I guess it was necessary for the story around that fight because then you had to fight Akira and it felt like really good, especially when you were both like when you both turned into fusions and you were just duking it out and you had to mash the buttons to sync your attacks. It was really good, along with the songs. The lyrical songs that play in this game, just like all Platinum games, they stay in your head for ages and they're very catchy and they give you goosebumps and you feel really good when you're playing them. But then Akira pisses me off again through the whole chapter 11 segment of the game where you fight him again for some reason because he's going insane because Yosef has made like 50 million clones of him and he's fighting you for some reason, but then he's fine again, and then that actually Akira leads me on to the ending of the game. The final boss of this game is my favorite final boss in a video game ever. It is my dream final boss. He starts off as a giant monster and like you can't do anything to him. So like the first phase of the battle is just a platforming sequence where you're trying to avoid his punches. And then phase 2 becomes relatively easy because you're just smashing his core and his attacks are very slow and avoidable. Except for that one where like he trapped you in a circle or something. That I didn't understand that one. But then it goes on to phase 3, which is the real deal. Takes on a humanoid shape and you're just on these levitating platforms in the sky, shifting position. He's just this really powerful thing. You can attack him, but your attacks will do very little. So you have to be very quick. You need to master dodging because he'll hit you like 3 times and take like a quarter of your health. He's slow at this point, but really, really powerful. And so that's challenging. And if you survive that, you make it to the 4th phase, which is the same as the 3rd phase, just with 4 arms. And this one is powerful and lightning quick, and he can do like 15 combos on you at the same time. So he will like kill you in like one hit, especially with that attack where he opens that like black hole and sucks you in. That's instant death, and that gave me a lot of trouble. I actually raged quite a few times from that. But after that, you beat him, and it feels really satisfying because you do combos with each of your legions in that cutscene to just decimate him. And then Akira holds him in place, and obviously you go to kill him, but then you don't kill him. The credits just roll. And it's like a slap in the face because you just had this intense, really hardcore final boss, and you don't even get to do the finishing blow on him. The credits just roll. And it's annoying. It actually ruins the experience for me. And what ruined it even more was the bonus chapter. Akira's alive. He survived even that. Why? I get that you want him to be in a sequel if you make one, but it wasn't necessary. You could have just avoided that whole thing altogether. So yeah, Akira pisses me off so much. Speaking of the bonus chapter, it's a typical Platinum Games bonus chapter. It's just fighting waves of enemies in impossible scenarios. It's like Bayonetta with the witch trials, and those gave me a lot of trouble. This one, these files, they constantly throw enemies at you. At one point, you're fighting Jenna, you're fighting a homunculus, and you're fighting like 10 chimeras all at the same time. And it's just overwhelming, and you have to pause for a moment to strategize before you rush into these things. And the items they give you, a lot of time, are not enough. So far, the first one in the Aegis Research Institute, I couldn't beat. That was one of the hardest ones I've ever done. And now I'm stuck again on another one on top of the Aegis Research Institute, where all the enemies are shielded by that purple glow from those weird floating ball dudes. And they're all like hound type enemies, and it's a nightmare because there's like 5 of them. They're all shielded. One of them's a boss, and they just tear you to pieces very quickly. So I haven't beaten the 12th chapter. I hear it's non-canon, and I know there's 71 missions. I've made it to like 42 or something. Once you get to like 71, you fight all the legions, and then the final one after that is a secret boss called Aether, which is just Jenna with the final boss, Noah's attacks. And it's apparently harder than Noah. So it looks fun, but I also know I would rage quit because you can't restart and you don't get those extra AD charges that refill your health when you die. So yeah, that's that. As I was saying, back to the soundtrack really quickly. The 3 lyrical songs, Savior, Dark Hero, and Answer, are all very good and memorable, and they stay in your head and they help to heighten the experience. The soundtrack, other than that, like the boss music, most of it's really good. It's classic platinum orchestra kind of mix, and it's intense, and some of it's emotional, and it heightens the experience, as I said. One last note on the gameplay: other than the legions, I know I only focus on that, but there's also the Iris, integrated reality imaging system, which is basically how you scan the environment and get details on different enemies and stuff. Helps you track where your objective is as well. That was I'm going to say a unique gimmick, but I'm not sure if it really is unique. But it worked fairly well. As well as the percentage is also a big thing in this game. Cleaning up red matter and red shift to increase your rank at the end of the chapter. That becomes a massive part, and also helps you to level up at the end of a chapter as well. I've got up to the highest level, 2000, and I still can't beat the file 12. So this game demands a lot of replayability, and it demands you get really good if you want to progress beyond the final chapter of the game. It's a short enough game, 11 main chapters. They're about, I guess, an hour each, maybe, depending how you play through them. Also, if you do all the side missions in them, they could be like 2 hours, 2.5 hours maybe. It really depends. But yeah, I think that's really all I need to say about it. Astral Chain, excellent gameplay, great music, a lot of replayability. When you level up, you feel really good because you feel like you've actually earned it. But it kind of falls apart with the story and the lack of an ending. You know, they said they want to make a sequel. I actually don't want one. As great as this game is, the story just doesn't have me interested, and I really don't care because they kind of just made a bollocks of it. But yeah, I leave it at that. Astral Chain, I will give a solid 8 out of 10. Definitely one of the best games on the Nintendo Switch, story-wise. Gameplay-wise, sorry. But yeah, it falls apart with its story. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. Let me know down in the comment section below. What did you think of Astral Chain? Have you played it? Have you beaten it? What did you think of the story? Did any of it make any sense to you? And if you can figure out what the hell makes Jenna different from Yusuf, please let me know down below, because I haven't the slightest clue. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and please subscribe. Novus Glorious out.